Forgotten, a Memorial Day tribute. Today is Memorial Day, and in about an hour my wife and I are heading off down the 95 freeway to South Carolina. A wonderful dinner, a barbecue, I think, has been planned with our children and grandchildren. But before I leave, there's something I wish to write about. It is something that has weighed very heavy on my mind for almost 50 years now. It has to do with the soldiers who have been somewhat forgotten. I was one of those soldiers. Many years ago, in a little dark corner of a cold stainless steel room, sounds echoing off the large walls, I stood peeling potatoes for the soldiers who were going off to battle. No generals were saluting and no parades were honoring me. No one in the Pentagon, especially the commander-in-chief, even knew that I existed on the face of this earth. It appeared that I was the only one who felt that the job I was doing was important. With fingers that sometimes bled from a slipping knife, or the scars I wore from the sharp potato peeler, I continued pushing forward to complete my assigned task. As the heavy buckets would fill with nutrients for the heroes, my skinny 17-year-old body would lug them to the muscle-bound cook who would dump them into the large steam vat full of water. "You can eat when the mess hall's been cleared and cleaned," he told me. "Why aren't we important like everyone else?" I asked him. He just stood there with a somewhat blank, sad expression on his face. As I turned to walk away, he said, "Hey kid, you're important to me. Without you, I couldn't do my job." "Yeah, but without us, they couldn't do their job either," I replied. He stopped stirring the large pot, set down the large wooden paddle on the stainless steel table, and he walked over to the telephone. After talking for several minutes, he hung up the phone and ordered me to follow him. 5 minutes later, I, and the supply sergeant, known as the toilet paper sergeant, were standing in the captain's office. I said not a word as the sergeant and the captain battled in a very heated discussion. "We will no longer eat cold food long after the other men are finished. The mess hall radio will not be turned off until we have eaten our meal. We will be treated in the same respectful manner as are all the other soldiers," blurted out the sergeant. "And so it shall be," said the captain as he stood up from behind his desk. The three of us saluted the captain and returned our salute. We made our way out of the orderly room and down the hallway. Once again the captain appeared in the doorway. "Soldiers!" he replied. As we turned around, the captain raised his hand to his forehead, giving us a salute. The sergeant smiled, and the three of us continued back to our assigned duties. The next morning, when I entered the kitchen to peel potatoes, I saluted the muscle-bound cook. "That's not really necessary, son," he told me. "Oh, yes, it is," I told him. Never having had a mother or father, my entire childhood was spent in a Jacksonville, Florida orphanage. For that entire time, I had been forgotten. Even with my 2 years in reform school, which was not much better, again I was forgotten. Then in the Army at 17, I was placed in the back of a large, dark kitchen, and once again forgotten. All I thought I ever wanted in life was to have the right to get a drink of water or to use a bathroom without having to ask someone's permission. But I guess what I really wanted was just not to be forgotten all the time. I knew very early in life that I was not important. The orphanage made sure I never forgot that. But I just wanted to feel that I had a value to someone somewhere in the world. Today, when I give thanks for all that I have been given, I shall thank all the soldiers. Not one single soldier will ever be forgotten in my mind.